The mahogany-paneled study of my father's estate felt suffocating as he stood behind his desk, dividing up my grandfather's fortune. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows through the windows, highlighting the dust motes dancing in the air, much like the sand my family thought I'd wasted my share on. $20 million to Thomas, Dad announced, sliding a folder to my older brother. For expanding the family's shipping business. Thomas smirked, his Italian suit rustling as he reached for the documents. $15 million to Diana, he continued, nodding to my sister. For her luxury real estate developments. Diana's diamond bracelet clinked against her gold pen as she signed the papers. And Sarah. Dad's voice dripped with disappointment as he turned to me. Well, you've already squandered your share, haven't you? I checked my phone discreetly, waiting for the geological survey results. 3 years of research, countless soil samples, and satellite imaging had led to this moment. 4,000 acres of worthless desert, Thomas laughed. What was it you said it could be? Solar farms? Mining? Or was it oil this time? At least she's consistent in her delusions, Diana added, scrolling through potential penthouse designs on her tablet. Remember when she turned down the VP position at Dad's company to study geology? Mom touched her pearls nervously. Darling, it's not too late. Perhaps your father could. Could what? Dad interrupted. Bail her out of another mistake? First the geology degree instead of business school, then refusing to join the family company, and now this, throwing away her inheritance on dead land in the middle of nowhere. My phone vibrated silently. The preliminary results were coming in. Tell us, little sister. Thomas leaned back in his leather chair. How's life as a prospector? Found any gold in that sand of yours? Something like that, I murmured, scanning the incoming data. You know what your grandfather would say about this? Dad picked up his prized paperweight, a piece of crude oil in clear resin from his first successful venture. He built this family's fortune on knowing where to invest. Real investments. Not wild goose chases in the desert. Grandfather taught me more than you think, I said quietly, watching another notification pop up. Diana laughed, her perfect manicure tapping against her wine glass. Oh yes, all those stories about his early days. Is that what inspired your little desert adventure? Playing at being a pioneer. Some of us prefer to build our own legacy, I replied, noting the urgency markers in the incoming messages. Legacy? Dad scoffed. Your legacy will be cautionary tales about wasted opportunity. While your siblings expand the family empire, you'll be counting sand dunes. My phone buzzed again, the chief geologist requesting an immediate video call. Excuse me, I stood up. I need to take this. More bad news from your worthless investment? Thomas called after me. Enjoy your sand. Dad's mocking voice followed me into the hallway. The real fortune stays with those who know how to use it. I stepped into the garden, my hands steady as I answered the video call. Dr. Harrison, I take it you've completed the analysis? His excited face filled my screen. Ms. Walker, you were right. The preliminary surveys, they're beyond anything we expected. The deposit, it's not just oil. I smiled, knowing tomorrow's news would change everything. Send me the full report. And Dr. Harrison? Call our lawyers. It's time to secure the perimeter. I walked back into the study just as Thomas was proposing a new yacht marina for his shipping empire. The wall-mounted TV, usually dedicated to financial news, suddenly cut to a breaking story. We interrupt this broadcast with breaking news from the energy sector. Oh, turn it up, Diana said. Probably another oil crisis driving up my construction costs. Dad reached for the remote, but froze as the headline scrolled across the screen. Massive rare earth deposit discovered, largest oil and mineral reserve in continental history. The discovery, made by Walker Geological Enterprises, the anchor continued, is being called the find of the century. Initial estimates value the deposits at over $300 billion. Thomas's portfolio slipped from his fingers, scattering across the floor. Walker Geological. That's my company, I finished, pulling up the full geological report on my tablet. Those worthless 4,000 acres? They're sitting on the largest combined oil and rare earth mineral deposit ever found in North America. That's impossible, Dad whispered, his face ashen. That area was surveyed decades ago. By outdated methods, I explained, projecting the 3D geological mapping onto the study wall. While you were all mocking my geology degree, I was developing new surveying technology. Technology that found what everyone else missed. Diana's wine glass slipped from her hand, staining her designer dress. 300 billion? Actually, I swiped to the latest figures. That's just the initial estimate. The rare earth minerals alone are worth twice that, especially given their strategic importance for tech manufacturing. The TV continued. Major tech companies are already in a bidding war for mineral rights. Tesla, Apple, and Samsung representatives have been seen entering Walker Geological headquarters. Mom collapsed into a chair. But you said you were just doing research. I confirmed, watching my phone light up with calls from every major news outlet. Research that combined grandfather's old oil prospecting wisdom with modern geological science. He always said the real treasures aren't where everyone else is looking. Dad stumbled to his desk, pulling up the land registry records. The mineral rights are all mine, I finished. Full ownership. Unlike the family company shares, which you split between Thomas and Diana. My phone buzzed again, the Saudi oil minister requesting an urgent meeting. Excuse me, I said, I need to take this. When Thomas? About that shipping contract we discussed last week? I'm afraid I'll be using my own transportation network now. Your own. He sputtered. Can't trust just anyone with $600 billion in resources, I smiled. Speaking of which, Diana, those luxury developments you're planning? They're now sitting on land I'll be needing for my processing facilities. The TV switched to aerial footage of my worthless desert, now swarming with geological teams and security personnel. Experts are calling this the most significant discovery since the formation of OPEC. But you can't. Dad started. Can't what? I asked, checking another notification. Can't run a multi-billion-dollar operation? Can't revolutionize the energy sector? Or can't do it without the family's help? The answer was in their shocked faces, in the scattered papers on the floor, and in the endless stream of messages lighting up my phone. The study's atmosphere grew heavier as more news poured in. Stock tickers at the bottom of the screen showed energy sector shares plummeting while Walker Geological's newly listed stock soared. Update. Chinese and European Union representatives now joining bidding war for Walker Geological contracts, the news anchor reported. Sources suggest initial offers exceeding $50 billion for exclusive mineral rights. Thomas frantically pulled up his investment portfolio on his phone. Our shipping company shares, they're dropping. Market responding to anticipated changes in global resource transportation, I explained calmly. When you control the resources, you control the shipping lanes. Basic economics, brother. Wasn't that what your MBA was for? Diana's tablet chimed with cancellations from her luxury development investors. My projects. Everyone's pulling out to invest in your land instead. The market adapts quickly, I noted, watching another notification pop up. Speaking of adaptation, the Pentagon is calling. Rare earth minerals are rather crucial for military technology. Dad slumped in his chair, staring at his precious paperweight. Your grandfather. He surveyed that land himself. Yes, he did, I confirmed, pulling out an old, worn journal. With 40-year-old equipment and limited geological understanding. But he also left me this, his personal survey notes. The ones you never bothered to read. His notes. Mom whispered. Complete with observations about unusual mineral formations he couldn't identify with his equipment. Observations that, combined with modern scanning technology, led us right to the deposits. I placed the journal on Dad's desk. He knew something was there. He just didn't have the tools to prove it. The TV switched to a panel of energy experts. This discovery fundamentally shifts global power dynamics. Walker Geological now controls resources crucial to everything from smartphones to electric vehicles. The family reputation. Dad muttered. Will be just fine, I assured him. Though it might be associated with a different Walker from now on. My phone buzzed again. The White House Chief of Staff requesting an urgent meeting about national security implications. I assume you'll want to delay the inheritance signing, I said, gathering my things. After all, The family fortune just became pocket change compared to what's under my worthless sand. The sound of helicopter rotors filled the air as my security detail arrived on the estate's lawn. Through the study window we could see a fleet of black SUVs pulling up to the gate. Those would be the government officials, I explained, standing to leave. And the gentleman in the blue suit? He's from the Rare Earth Minerals Commission. Fascinating proposals about revolutionizing the tech manufacturing industry. As I walked toward the door I paused. Oh, and Dad? That VP position you offered me? I'm afraid I'll have to decline. Again. I'm a bit busy running an empire of my own. 6 months later I stood at the window of my new office on the 50th floor of Walker Tower, watching my former worthless desert transform. What was once endless sand now housed the most advanced rare earth mineral processing facility in the world, surrounded by a sprawling complex of research centers, oil refineries, and a private spaceport. The headlines on my digital wall told the story. Walker Geological revolutionizes green energy with new mineral processing. Tech giants compete for Walker resources. Global markets reshape around new energy superpower. My assistant's voice came through the intercom. Your brother Thomas is here for his 2 p.m. appointment. Send him in, I said, not turning from the window. Thomas entered, his once immaculate Italian suit looking somewhat worn. The shipping empire he'd inherited was struggling, hemorrhaging contracts to my new transportation network. Sarah. He cleared his throat. You're looking successful. What can I do for you, Thomas? I asked, finally turning to face him. The wall behind my desk displayed real-time data from our global operations, numbers that made our family's former fortune look like a rounding error. I've been thinking about what you said about adaptation, he started, fidgeting with his tie. Our shipping company, we could restructure it to serve your operations. The board thinks. The board. I interrupted. You mean Dad's old friends who laughed at my desert obsession? A notification flashed across my desk. Another tech company offering billions for exclusive mineral rights. I dismissed it with a wave. We'd developed a more profitable direct-to-manufacturer model. Look, Thomas sighed, I know we were wrong about you. We all were. But we're still family. Family, I mused, picking up the latest Forbes magazine with my face on the cover. Funny how that word means something different now. My phone buzzed. Diana was in the lobby too. Right on schedule. Let me guess, I said. Diana wants to pitch luxury housing developments for our workforce? Thomas's shocked expression confirmed it. How did you? The same way I found those minerals, brother. Data. Analysis. Patterns. I pulled up Diana's recent business proposals on my screen. She's been approaching our contractors for weeks. The desert sunset painted the sky orange beyond my window, reminiscent of the flames from our processing plants turning raw minerals into technological gold. I'll make this simple, I said, turning back to Thomas. I'm not interested in saving the family's old businesses. I'm building something new.